there from Larry Perkins. He snuck down on the inside of the right-hander. Bowkett was quick enough with his reflexes to come back on the left-hander, hold on to the lead down the main straight. So the battle for third and fourth, it's still Bowkett in the Nissan in front of Larry Perkins in the Holden Racing Team's Commodore number
16.
16, I'm sorry.
Yes, he was going to have to bluff him out of that one, and didn't quite come out. Bowkett certainly took on the bluff, and I just noticed from the driver's side front of Larry's car, he's had a little touch with somebody. There's a little bit of damage on the headlight there.
Passing the Lusty Engineering Commodore. Again, the battle rages up the back straight for third and fourth. Larry Perkins coming a lot closer to Graham Bowkett as they head over the top under the Peter Jackson Bridge. Side by side once again. That was a big game move from Larry going on the outside around that corner. Still nose to tail as they go through Dandenong Road corner.
Now watch him again. Will he try the same manoeuvre? I don't think Bowkett will fall for the three-card trick again. But
Larry has
no.
a look.
Yeah, so this is an interesting situation with these two places. It's also an interesting situation up front too, Ian.
Graham Bowkett in third place. Larry Perkins in fourth place as they head down the main straight once again. The Nissan able to pull away from the Commodore marginally, but Larry Perkins makes up the distance under brakes at the end of the main straight. Nose to tail and actually pushing him around the left-hander at the end of the main straight. Larry Perkins now having a little bit of a look. Freddie Gibson, the team boss, getting a little bit worried about this going on.
Oh,
and Perkins has got him. He got him at the right-hander coming into the chicane. So Larry Perkins takes over third place from Graham Bowkett. Up the back straight, it looks like Bowkett may have been holding up Perkins a little bit because he's got away from him already by the photograph scoreboard. And the distance is probably 20 or 30 metres as they head up the back straight. So Larry Perkins in the Holden Racing Team's Commodore into third place.
The car 3 comes into the pits. That's car 3 into the pits, and it's Graham Bowkett. I did expect that car in pretty soon.
Bowkett will be handing over to George Fury once again. There's George getting into the car. Freddie Gibson, the team boss, looking on. This will be a practice for the real pit stop that this team needs in just a short while. If they can do this in 20 or 30 seconds and repeat it again when the number 2 car of Mark Scaife comes in, when Scaife hands over to Jimmy Richards, they could win this race.
This is certainly not a 20-second pit stop, Ian, I'm afraid. But there is the leader. Car number 2, I think he needs to be probably a full minute in front to have any show of getting out pretty close to Dick Johnson. And as I was saying, Dick Johnson would have a full load of fuel. The Nissan number 2 would have a very much less load of fuel, be very light, so he can maintain this gap.
That car in the hands of Mark Scaife is the race leader. This is his teammate coming back out onto the track in 5th place with George Fury behind the wheel once again.
There's the leading car. Mark Scaife heads down the straight once again. This will be 120 laps down, 41 to go.
It looks like Jim Richards is not getting back. It looks like Mark Scaife is going to continue on for the rest of the race because Richards certainly doesn't have his helmet on. So Mark Scaife continuing on for the balance of the race, not handing the car back over to Jim Richards. Certainly getting some advice from Richards.
Now the critical matter is, where is Johnson?
Johnson would have perhaps slowed down just marginally when he saw his car on the side of the track.
And here he comes, he's taking over the lead now. There's the Johnson car, it's a new leader. Now how quickly can the Nissan get out? Is he going to be in a position to challenge? No, he's not. They're doing the brakes, and this is going to be costly, very costly indeed.
Well, with the number 2 Nissan, the Jim Richards Mark Scaife car in the pits for the second time and brakes being done, Dick Johnson takes the lead with 123 laps completed. Dick Johnson, who has never won the 500-kilometre classic, he's never won a long-distance race here at Sandown, is looking very, very good at the moment. 130 laps, 31 laps to go in the 05 500 for Dick Johnson, looking good.
Yes, Dick certainly be feeling fairly relaxed at this stage, with now just 31 laps to go. This would be a comfortable run after you've done 130. 31 seems like nothing at all. And of course, Dick's never been this far up in a Sandown long distance race at this time of the race. In actual fact, he's rarely been going at this time of the race. He certainly had a bad run. Yes, he finished third last year, so that was a bit of a struggle, because of course he had to keep switching the starter motor on and off to get the car just over that last little bit. But certainly wouldn't wish that on him at this stage, but he certainly has not put a foot wrong in this performance. The car has run like clockwork.
Going with that smooth style behind the wheel. As Dick Johnson comes onto the main straight once again. Down in front of a huge crowd here at Sandown. Well, we're at the point of 15 laps to go in the 05 500 at Sandown. Watching the number 3 car of George Fury, who's ranging up on the back of Win Percy in the 16 Commodore, which is currently in 3rd place. There's Win Percy in 3rd. Great drive from these pair of Win Percy and Larry Perkins, 3.9 seconds back to George Fury. So Furious George, the Telmelmo farmer, out charging and trying to catch up Englishman Win Percy.
The car just in front of him is the Murray Carter John Mann Sierra.
Saw a shot of that just a couple of minutes ago. It's been popping and smoking for some time now. Murray Carter running for President Ford, who's been one of the favourites here at the Sandown circuit for many years, who's not looking very strong at all.
And that is Murray in the car, and through goes the skyline over the top. And down into the S's, and you can see Percy has just gone out of camera to your right. Now there he is on the left-hand side of that group, just past the pink Commodore. And there is the Nissan just at the top of your screen, and Johnson in the pits.
Well, this is a turn up for the books.
And it's under the bonnet.
Expect this one.
Shattering.
Oh, look at the look on Neil Lowe's face. His team manager, and Johnson is furiously waving his hands. Johnson has got a problem. He was leading with 15 laps to go and is into the pits with a bonnet up. Disastrous luck for Dickie Johnson, who has never won this classic long distance race at Sandown. You can tell by the look on the face of both Neil Lowe, the team manager. The team leader goes past, and the Nissans go into the lead once again. Jim Richards, Mark Scaife look like winning the 05 500 at Sandown. Not a great deal of work going on in the Dick Johnson car. As I was about to say, you can tell by the look on the face of John Bale and also team manager Neil Lowe that there is disaster has struck the Shell Ultra High Sierra team of Dick Johnson. There's our race leader, Mark Scaife. Wouldn't it be fantastic if a young 22-year-old took out this race? Dick Johnson back on the track, and he will be at least half a lap down, but still in 2nd place. Dick Johnson half a lap down in 2nd place, rejoining just in front of Win Percy in the Commodore. You can't see him on your screen, but he's not far back. What disastrous luck for Dick Johnson.
Well, I don't like to say I told you so, Ian, but this is the car I thought that might do it. I've been very impressed with the Nissans all weekend, and by gee, Jim Richards and Mark Scaife have put in a great race. And I know they've had a bit of luck as far as Dick Johnson having that mishap, but you've got to have just an ounce of luck in motor racing.
Yes, the Brock car, which got up to 6th place without that windscreen, is sounding absolutely diabolical. It sounds like a machine gun going down the front straight, popping and banging disastrously. So the Sierra of Peter Brock is also totally out of contention, although our lap chart still tells us that he's in the top 6, so he's in the prize money at this stage, but he's 3 laps clear of Neil Crompton in the 2nd of the Commodores, so he may just finish in that position if he can keep the car going.
Now the interest will be whether George Fury can get in front of Win Percy's Commodore and make it 1-2 for the Nissans. That's certainly the next step. But of course Johnson has got into second, so it won't be a 1-2.
Johnson's into the pits once again. Johnson into the pits. There's obviously a very large problem with this Dick Johnson car. And the crowd went absolutely wild in the grandstand when they saw Dick Johnson going off the track and into the pits, because there's a huge contingent of Dick Johnson fans in the Sandown grandstand.
And there's the leader going through. I've noticed that car 3 has gone through, so that's still got another lap to pick up on Johnson before it can get up to second or challenge for second, because Win Percy is still ahead of it. But there's our leader coming through the chicane up to 05 corner. Once again, that Commodore right behind him is car number 7. That's the Neil Crompton car.
That's back in position 7, so not in contention. Our race leader heads up underneath the Motorcraft scoreboard, up the back straight, with a comfortable gap now between himself and Dick Johnson, who is still in pit road. There's the Dick Johnson car. Mechanics crawling all over the car.
Well, Percy is just in front of this car you see on your screen now. That's the Nissan number 3. There's Percy, and he's into second place. As soon as he crosses, goes past Johnson in the pits, he is. Now the Nissan goes past the pits, and he's in third place. And that's the gap between the two of them. So can we have a Nissan 1-2 still here, Ian? It's a very good chance of it. Percy locks up a brake badly coming into the first corner.
That's our race leader, Mark Scape.
So our leader comes through the chicane down to 05 corner, and not very far ahead of him is this battle for third.
Look at the look on Dick Johnson's face.
The car there. He must be absolutely devastated. You would not believe he cannot believe his luck here at Sandown. It really has a jinx on him.
So
he can't win a long-distance race here. So there's second and third places, and now this is the battle. This is really going to be a crackerjack battle too, because two very, very experienced drivers. Win Percy in the Commodore, number 16 out in front there, in second place. Right behind him, a little terrier of a driver, George Fury. Again, with a lot of experience on his belt, particularly with the Nissan team. And Johnson comes out of the pits. There he is. He's in 5th place. 5th place, just ahead of 105. But well and truly in front of him as far as laps are concerned.
This is the battle for second and third. Win Percy in the number 16 Commodore, with the Talmalmo farmer George Fury right on his tail. They've got 10 laps to go. Fury's got to catch up with Win Percy. There's the gap between the two of them, and then he's got to get past. And that Holden Commodore is a very big car to get past on this Sandown circuit, on any circuit in fact. George Fury up the back straight. There's Win Percy up underneath the Peter Jackson Skyline bridge, down over the top into Dandenong Road corner, through the S's. Win Percy goes through. George Fury closes up.
That's Peter Brock right behind them, but he's now been lapped a further lap by these two. But here's the two, the battle for second place, and they're coming up on Dick Johnson of all things. And Dick is running very slowly, obviously going for a finish now. But there's the Commodore 16, followed by the Nissan in 3, and it's car 3 in third place, but he would like to be second. And Freddie Gibson would just love to make this 1-2. There's Jimmy Richards. He's the co-driver of the lead car. Just settle it down, says Fred. He's grinning from ear to ear. He could not believe his luck when Johnson, is getting onto the curb, and that's not really the way to do it, George. You can't throw the car around at this stage. Down to 05 corner they come. Heading up the back straight once again. No slow cars to muck them up. The little BMW stays out of their way. Will be passed easily by George Fury.
Well, that's still running off song as the two cars battling it out for second and third. Head up the back straight. It's the Holden Commodore with Win Percy behind the wheel and George Fury. Can